okay? For one reason or another, we are not where we thought we'd be today, neither the city nor the parish, when we were consolidated. And you know, when something's not working, it's time to fix it. And I've heard a lot of comments and criticisms here today and worries about moving forward, but we should not wait for perfect, okay? If we wait for perfect, we're not going to do anything. We need to move forward. Let's get this thing passed. If there's some problems with it, we can adjust down the road. So obviously I'm for this ordinance, and I sure request and ask or even beg your vote to pass it. And if there's any problems, we're going to fix them down the road, as well as the parish will. Thank you.
Anita Begnaud, and she will be followed by Ashley Mudd.
Good evening. My name is Anita Begnaud. Thank you for your time tonight, for the opportunity to speak in favor of this ordinance, as well as to the council and the staff and everyone involved for the work that's been put in on this issue over the last many years that we've been discussing this as a community. And I appreciate that you guys listened, ladies and gentlemen, listened at the town halls. I was able to attend Mr. Theriault and Mr. Bellard's town hall and speak there, and for making changes in response to the community's thoughts and feelings on this issue. I am a resident of District 6. I'm a property owner. That's the only current wholly city district in our makeup today. And I believe that the City of Lafayette taxpayers deserve the right to self-governance, our own council representing us to spend our own tax dollars. And I would stress the urgency in fixing this issue. And I've heard a lot of arguments and disagreements about how much time has been spent to this date on this issue. But I would still stress urgency in fixing it. I don't think that the time spent and the issue at hand are the same issue, and we should treat them separately. We need to address this issue now. I believe if not now, then when? It's an important decision for the future of the city. I've also heard people say that this would not fix my issue, but I would ask that you think about the entire city and the entire parish. And I would say on a personal level, this would fix my own issue. This would be a positive step in the representation issue that I have. And I've heard people say that this is not a perfect solution. And to echo Mr. Miles, I would say, do not let the perfect be the enemy of the good. I think this is a positive step in the right direction. I would like to emphasize the importance of allowing the public, the people you see here tonight and the others who live in our city and parish, to decide this issue. And I believe that no change is no option when it comes to this. I appreciate your time tonight, and I once again appreciate the time and effort that each of you has spent on this issue. I appreciate the time that folks in the audience have spent at town halls in recent weeks and coming to council meetings and watching at home from AOC. Thank you for all that thus far. I look forward to the community dialogue in the coming months as we lead up to the election later this year. And I would encourage those who are unsure about this issue to get in touch with your councilman or woman, because they have been very responsive in addressing issues, answering questions, providing feedback. I even got a text from my councilman earlier about this issue, so they are very responsive. So please utilize that resource. I would ask that the council vote in favor of this ordinance and give us, the city parish residents, the same chance to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Ashley Mudd, followed by Roderick Robinson.
I want to start off by thanking you for the opportunity to present in front of you this evening. My name is Ashley Mudd, and I am a homeowner and resident of District 4 within the city limits of Lafayette. I'm here to speak in favor of the proposed charter amendments. I acknowledge that, like said several times this evening, this is not a perfect solution to our current form of consolidation that is very broken. But I do believe it is the solution that we need today. It is the solution that has been created by the people who were courageous enough to not say no and to put forward their best solution that they could. I think that our current system, like several times said tonight, is a form of taxation without representation. I also think something that several speakers have missed is the work that you all have done since this was first proposed last month. I thank you for your town hall meetings, for engaging in discussion. I've worked professionally in Lafayette for several years, and I believe this is the first issue where I've truly felt engaged and had an opportunity to speak with all of you and to provide feedback. I thank you for making the amendments that you have. I thank you for your work to look back at the maps and to now provide us with 2 majority-minority districts, which is very important to me and several of the people that I work with. So I thank you for listening to your citizens, taking that feedback and taking what you presented last month and getting it to its iteration that it is today. I truly believe that it is the best solution that we have right now, and I hope that all of you, especially you, Councilman Boudreaux, who represents me, will vote tonight to put this on the ballot in December and allow the citizens to decide what is best for us and how we should be represented. Thank you.
Robinson, followed by Michael Lunsford.
I'm Roderick Robinson. I've been in this parish and stuff like that, rural area, for over 42, 43 years. This thing here, it came up, the consolidation and stuff like that. What the people don't understand, it wasn't the rural area that voted this. The city of Lafayette voted it with the people. That's how it passed. It didn't pass by the rural area. It didn't pass by Scott. It didn't pass by Broussard. It didn't do so, nothing like that. The city of Lafayette people is the one that voted this in. Now, I live in the rural area. A few years back, it took 3 years to get an off-road ditch dug, something for me, you know, to have drainage from my property. 3 years. And that's a long time ago. That was about 10 years ago. Why should it take 3 years for the government to do? And y'all say it's not going to hurt the rural area. It does hurt the rural area. And because there's no more money in the rural area because it keeps annexing. It's not Scott, not Doosan, all that. They annexed a little bit, but not as much as Lafayette consolidated government did. They annexed more than anything else. And we get smaller and smaller, no more money in here. But it's the city of Lafayette that put this thing on the ballot before. It came to vote before, it got denied, and y'all gonna take it and put this thing on a vote again when you're gonna have a low margin of vote to come out. It don't make sense. Wait till 2020, wait till the legislators comes out and draw the lines and stuff like that. Y'all doing stuff, all this is for nothing. Y'all wasting the time, the money of the people. Wait till 2020, let the legislators put the boundaries in, then y'all take a vote on it, and then y'all work from there. You're spinning wheels on this. It don't matter which. The rural area suffers. Not from Scott, not from Doosan, not from Broussard, nothing. Did y'all look back on the council members whenever they put Ambassador Caffrey in? Who paid for that? Who paid for that? Did Lafayette pay their share of that Ambassador Caffrey? I don't think so. I think it was Broussard. And it done pretty doggone good for Lafayette, huh? But Broussard paid the money. And then y'all want to gripe about Broussard. All of us as people, why we can't get along? It don't make sense. I'm a poor man. I'm not educated. They never finished high school. But y'all talking about this and that. What about people? I'm a property owner. I got property. I got to take and vote on property tax. Somebody else that don't have property, what they do? They don't vote on property tax? They vote on property tax, right? So it's the same thing with the other cities that you're doing in here. Don't make sense. Everything will not be equal all the way that you want to cross. But if y'all want to be fair to everybody, put it on the ballot whenever they got the majority of votes coming. They ain't going to have hardly nobody there in December. Everybody knows that. That's why they're trying to push this. That's why this council is up here trying to push it. And y'all got your right to vote. Please go out there and vote. I wish everybody would, but there's not enough people to vote to really count. And it's just unfair. Kevin, you my representative.
Yes, sir.
I can't get nothing done that I always ask for. Come over here. I'm not educated. Maybe that's why I don't get it done. Okay? But I'm completely against this here. Put it off to 2020 when you can have a majority of the people come vote. Don't vote on this. I'm begging you not to. You're in my area and stuff like that. I want to see if you got a backbone because they got a lot of people that disagree with that.
I got a big backbone, and you came to my public meeting, right? You came to my town hall meeting?
I came to your town hall meeting.
And
that's the only meeting I went to because you in my area. I don't go to the other people because I don't think I'm supposed to be persuading them any kind of way. I don't live in that area. But we are human beings. I work in there. Matter of fact, all these places around here, right in front of the sidewalk when I was a little kid, we put that turning lane. Cajun Dome, we built a parking lot.
I think
all them boulevards, a whole bunch of places in Lafayette we built. I was in construction for a bunch of years and stuff. But this government is getting out of hand. Out of hand, really. So thank you.
All right, sir. Mr. Roderick, I respect you. I thank you very much for coming to that meeting. And I'll just say to the public and anybody that knows who Kevin Nakane is as a person or individual, I look at everything both sides. And I am very upfront and very forward with my beliefs and where I stand on this. So someone to challenge me where my backbone is, that's not the right way to go about it. If you want to have a discussion after the meeting, we'll go to lunch, we'll talk about what you believe and what I believe. I'll be more than glad to discuss that with you. But I always, as your representative, I'm not going to make a quick decision. I will look at both sides, and we may agree to disagree, but you will get the truth, and you will get a true backbone. And sometimes maybe we're going to be on opposite sides of the fence, and that's okay, but you're going to know where I stand. And I appreciate you very much, and I will be contacting you. And I also got on top of the Water District South for you, so I got some information for you, okay? All right. Next speaker, please.
Michael Lunsford, and he will be followed by Michael Delcom.
Good evening, gentlemen, ladies. Yeah, Mr. Nakane, I hope you'll permit me breaking news alert. We found out the sheriff has put a half-cent sales tax on the ballot, the same as this is going to be on in December. So that has been submitted, I understand, to the bond commission today, late. So just breaking news update. So I hope that it's related, I promise.
I got you.
Now, just so you know, I've been kind of walking around the parish, talking to a lot of people. And I just wanted to bring a couple of the comments because none of them are here. And I checked, and of course now it's a lighter crowd. You can kind of see who's here and who's not. So I'm going to run through some of the comments that I heard just walking up to people. Hey, what do you think of this split? Not giving them any information, just asking what do they think. And these are folks you would know. In fact, if I said their name, you'd know who they were. For the record, I'm going to avoid calling anybody out that I don't have permission to use their name, but I'll submit you something here in a minute. A local prominent attorney who pays a lot of attention to this kind of stuff doesn't understand what this fixes. The two issues, excuse me a minute, getting old eyes. He said, two issues of such importance coming forward at the very same time cannot be attributed to mere happenstance. He also said any LUS deal would be cleaner with a vote of a city council. He said it's happening too rapidly, and he said something smells. So that's one. A local prominent educator who I spoke with about the same time said there hasn't been enough time for me to properly evaluate such a complex proposal. It's all happening too fast. A local informed citizen who's not necessarily prominent, but it's a name you would probably know. We've heard that none of the council members knew anything about the LUS deal before July 13th. However, on February 20th, the LPUA amended Resolution R003-2018 to remove bond funding for electric plant upgrades.
Mr. Lunsford,
Yes.
we need to stick to the ordinance. This is
Okay.
words.
What I'm trying to tell you is that there's a lot of information out there. A lot of people are confused about what's going on. The point is they believe, in fact, every single one of these believes the same thing, that it's happening too fast. And by too fast, they don't mean since 2011. They mean since July, when was it, the 13th, I think, when, or maybe it wasn't quite early July when everybody heard about this. It's been moving very rapidly. So I just wanted to, continue to make the point that these aren't my opinions. These are opinions I picked up from local prominent folks. And if I could finish, I've got a couple more. Is that okay?
Well, I would like to get your thoughts. These are other people that's not here, but we want to, if you want to speak, let's speak to your thoughts on this ordinance.
Okay.
As amended. That's what we're here for. Everyone's coming up with their thoughts and their feelings. What you're doing is referencing this. It's not related.
Okay. Well, you know, I feel like I'm just kind of I don't say a barometer, but I listen to what people have to say, and I feel a civic duty to report it to you guys because I'm here tonight and I'm not hearing any of these messages. I'm not hearing these folks represented. Not here tonight. I'm sure they're calling you, they're emailing you. But I just think it's very informative to hear what they had to say. And for all of them, one was a former lawmaker who said, this doesn't make sense. I don't understand what this fixes. This, you know, none of this is really adding up. And for a lawmaker to say that, you know, I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a regular, you know, guy that tries to pay attention and read budgets. For a former lawmaker who has done what you guys do say this, it says a lot to me. But look, I know my time's running out. I'm kind of running out of stuff here, but I will submit the rest of this. And if I can leave, well, you know what, I'll let it at that. I appreciate your patience. They are. Not all necessarily inside the city limits. Some are in outlying areas. Okay.
Influence from outside of those geographical areas is inappropriate, and it's very misleading, and it's very unfair. So when you submit that, tie some addresses to them and some names so our office could follow up with them, with these very prominent people. Although the majority of the people I represent are not very prominent, unfortunately. They're middle class, hardworking, looking for somebody to govern their needs so they won't get swallowed up in this bigger form of government that has left them behind. So you can go and submit your paperwork over there.
Well, I'll check. I'll have to check with the individuals.
Response from him, he can submit his paperwork.
All right. Yes, sir.
Next speaker is Michael Delcom, and he will be followed by Jeremiah Supple.
Thank you all. My name is Michael Delcom. I'm the chair of the Downtown Lafayette Unlimited, and I'm speaking on behalf of the DLU. The Downtown Lafayette Unlimited Board of Directors voted to support the approval of the ordinance, or the effort to amend the Lafayette Consolidated Government Charter to establish separate city and parish councils for Lafayette. We believe a council focused on the city of Lafayette will create more opportunities to move the downtown area and the city as a whole forward. Downtown Lafayette is committed to the economic and cultural revitalization of the downtown district, restoring and preserving its important place as the center of life in Acadiana. DLU strives to provide the private sector leadership and coordination needed in the revitalization effort. And as we believe, amending the Lafayette Consolidated Government Charter would aid in that mission. We hope our LCG representatives will approve the ordinance tonight so the people of Lafayette and Lafayette Parish can vote on this important issue. For approximately 15 to 20 years, downtowns and urban areas across the country have experienced a resurgence. During this time, most cities have found ways to reinvest in their urban cores, either through public sector investments or public and private partnerships. They have done this in order to provide housing for young professionals looking for reasons to stay in their cities or reasons to come in the first place. In particular, for downtown Lafayette, consolidation has created a much higher political hurdle for downtown initiatives. Some examples of ways in which downtown Lafayette has been held back include holding back the redevelopment of the old federal courthouse building site as residential. Despite the fact that this project has been a priority for downtown for years, and despite the fact that a majority of the city's city council members on the city parish council have been in support, parish interest had the votes to hold the city-owned site as a replacement site for the parish courthouse. Number two, having to compete with capital dollars when the downtown council members represent only one of the 9 votes on the council, even though downtown pays higher share of the city's parish, meaning the city and parish property taxes, than any other area of the parish. As a result, the amount of capital dollars spent in downtown the last 2 decades has paled in comparison to what other cities the size of Lafayette has invested in their own downtowns. An inadequate investment in the utilities and other infrastructure has a negative effect on downtown redevelopment. These charter amendments will do several things for downtown. Ensures that only city representatives are able to spend city tax dollars, something that should reprioritize spending in downtown. Fix the imbalance of representation and prevent those who do not live in the city of Lafayette from having a voice in how resources are spent in downtown. The council members who represent downtown will be one of 5 members, not one of 9. Downtown Lafayette will also have a representative on the new parish council, and it allow true priorities of the downtown stakeholders to have their proper time and attention. And I will leave you with this. We as Downtown Lafayette Unlimited hope our LCG representatives will approve the ordinance tonight and allow the people to vote. Thank you.
Councilman Bellard?
I don't believe what you're saying is true, sir. And I'm going to tell you why. I have a business downtown. My office is downtown. I live in the city of Lafayette. And as I'm listening to all y'all, I'm just taking all this in. And like Mr. Castile didn't vote for the federal courthouse. We've never once hurt the city. And I guess after listening and listening and listening, I'm trying to let everyone talk because I know it's late. I still, when people say you wear 2 hats, I live in the city, my district's majority unincorporated. It's got to be hard for you to wear 2 hats. I just disagree with that. It's not that hard because in the unincorporated area is my brother, my cousin, my aunt. In the city is me, my cousins, and whatever. So I've just never had that problem. And as far as downtown and funding, man, I can promise you, we put a lot of money downtown to make it safe with the police department. We've never once on this council in my 11 years said we're taking away and not trying to put efforts downtown. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bellard, next speaker.
Next speaker is Jeremiah Supple, and he will be followed by Kim Goodale.
I think Mr. Supple's gone.
Okay, Kim Goodale, and she will be followed by Karen DeCluid.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. This ordinance calls for dissolving the LPUA, that board charged with the responsibility to manage and protect our utilities, including our water resources. Instead of abolishing our utilities board, I would like to propose that we further develop the utilities board to include technical advisors as a way to build new science, innovation, economic analysis, and oversight for all the decisions that are made regarding our utilities as well as our water resources. This would include technical analysis as well as economic analysis of recommendations that are proposed to the City Council, even if it is a proposal coming from a third party that has or might be granted a management contract. We are wanting to be a smart, innovative city. We are wanting to retain this next smart, innovative generation. Appropriate management of all of our utilities and our water resources requires staying up with the latest and the greatest. All major decisions should integrate all available science and innovative technology, as well as technological advances that we see on the horizon. When you're building a great city, there are very few strictly business decisions to be made. I ask that you make provisions for this for the sake of this decision that is pending, but even more so for the sake of our future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next speaker is Karen DeCluid, and Karen DeCluid will be followed by Jeff Daly.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak. Liz, I'm in your district. Thank you for your service. Mine's really short. I'm just taking this opportunity to voice my opinion that I am in favor of the amendments and the changes that they're proposing. I think the citizens of Lafayette should be able to elect its own council to handle the issues concerning their own tax dollars, and I urge you to push this forward and allow the public to vote on the revised amendments. Also, I think that having a better system in place is going to be just one of the factors that's going to keep the talent that we recruit to Lafayette. Honestly, I'm really tired of seeing amazing people come into the community and we become friends with them and they start doing really great work here in Lafayette, and then they just get tired of how broken the system can be and they decide to take their family elsewhere. And that's just one of the things that has really disappointed me. And I'm hoping that that will change and we'll be able to stand by our city government and be proud of it and keep the talent that we recruit here for the future. Because my husband and I, we've moved back here and this is it. We have kids here. I want Lafayette to be a place that I want to stay, and I don't want to regret that decision to return. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Next speaker is Jeff Daly, followed by Ravis Martinez.
All right. We're on hour 4 right now, so I'm going to try to keep my thoughts reasonable here. Thanks everyone for engaging in this debate. Obviously, everyone up front, I think the town halls are very productive. I think more of those are a good thing to get the voice of the people to be able to help inform the decisions you make. Amending our Constitution should not be done lightly. You know, this is a really big deal that we're talking about here. But I think the issues that we face demand serious consideration, as we've been doing as we go through this process. Because for me, the issue is simple. There's an opportunity in front of us to be able to have both the city and the parish gain the benefit of elected officials who can focus 100% of their issue on the issues that matter to the city and the parish respectively. Because having, quite frankly, a consolidated council trying to manage both is just too much. It's not fair to you guys, first off. I mean, you have very long meetings you have to sit through and a whole wide range of issues by having to wear both hats at the same time. It's not fair to the parish, especially the unincorporated areas, I would argue, because parish issues too often don't get enough attention because there's so much more time that the city side of government demands because it's just that much bigger than the parish side of government. And it's clearly not fair to the city because there are a lot of issues that we face in the city that demand 5 days a week of attention by our elected officials, not however much they can fit in the time they're not spending on parish issues. But this isn't about any council member doing the wrong thing. I think we want to make sure to take a step back from it. I don't feel that way, any way, shape, or form. It's just that there's not enough hours in the week, right? The city council, the city side of the budget is 5 times bigger than the parish side of the budget. So if you were to spend your time based on dollars, that means you'd be spending less than 1 day a week on parish issues. So when you talk about now rural area issues within a parish, we're talking about 3 hours a week that you'd be able to spend on those issues. Whereas if we had a full-time parish council, you could be spending 5 days a week on parish issues. I think that would be a boon for the parish. I mean, Councilmember Terrio, wouldn't it be great as a parish councilman to be able to just focus on parish issues and not have to spend 80% of your time on city issues? Similarly, I'm a resident of District 3, so Pat Lewis is my representative. Wouldn't it be great if you could just spend time on city issues and not have to spend time on the parish issues instead? Because as a resident of the parish, I want my parish council to focus all their energy on the parish. As a resident of the city, I want my city council to focus all their energy on the city. Because, put simply, I don't think you can be a great parish councilman and be a great city councilman. I think there's kind of a choice, one way or the other. And by splitting the council will allow everyone to do an even better job of representing us as parish residents and as city residents. And also, I think the most important aspect of this that has not been said is that if we do this, we're talking about shorter council meetings. right? I mean, who's going to vote against that, right? You know, ultimately, I mean, maybe the administration, because you guys are going to have to go to twice as many, but hopefully it won't be more time overall. So I also support them doing them now, because I think we've allowed this issue to fester for far too long. And I know something I learned listening to Councilman Boudreaux's show earlier. If we don't do this now and we don't get this in place for the 2020, then we can't actually change the City Parish Council until 2024. So that's 5-6 years from now that we'd be able to make these changes. I don't think we can afford to wait that much longer. So with that, I would appreciate all of your serious consideration and support of this measure. It certainly has my vote, and I hope it has yours as well. Thank you.
Ravis Martinez.
Good evening, Council. I'm Ravis Martinez, District 3. Before I start, I just want to address Mr. Robertson, if I could, Mr. Chair, and say, Mr. Robertson, you're probably one of the most educated gentlemen I've ever listened to. Don't take that for anything other than what I'm saying, is because when I hear you speak, I know that my grandmother, my great aunt, and other people, they can understand what you're saying. I can understand what you're saying, and I appreciate that. Because a lot of the talk that we're doing here tonight, a lot of talk that the council gives to us, it moves too fast. Thank you for slowing it down. Thank you. Council, I just wanted to say, I was here for the introduction of this ordinance. And at that time, I asked the council to please take a step back, cooler heads prevail, and let's talk about it. During that time, we've had the town halls, which has been very successful. I want to commend the entire council for doing those. I thought they were very informative and really put on the table a lot of the issues that have been discussed. So I came here tonight saying, hey, yes, let's move this to the voters and ask the council to pass the ordinance with the proposed amendments. But then I get a page of 17 amendments in front of me. And now I'm sitting here like, how can I, honestly, as someone who likes to look at these issues and dig into them, say that now I totally support this plan with these new 17 or 16 amendments that I just got handed? It's not fair to me. I'm not an elected official. I need a little bit of time. And I don't feel, unfortunately, that the process is allowing me that, or allowing other citizens that exact point. Mr. Boudreaux, you came at me directly, addressed me directly in your show about how somehow I'm the mastermind of opposition against you personally. And sir, that's totally not the truth. I respect you as an elected official. I respect you as a leader of the community. I respect you as a man. I've never once came up in this room, in any room, and tried to do anything against any individual. You called me out and said I was doing something that was for personal and professional gain. The first part was absolutely right. It is personal, because I have 3 young girls, just like you, sir, 3 children that I'm trying to raise in this community. And any plan or anything that's going to affect their lives and their well-beings, I want to at least have an opportunity to look at it. And so, sir, I didn't appreciate being cast in that light. I didn't appreciate being put in a position where my comments or my opposition to this plan is something that's on a personal or professional nature. For me, sir, it's based on these issues. I've said it before. Why are we doing this now? Why not 2020? A lot of those answers came from you, sir, and I appreciate that. But when this was introduced, they weren't there. And now we have 17 other things that are in front of us, and some of those answers aren't there. So I'll just ask, with my time running out, that we send this to the voters. But I caution this, that we really need to do a better job of how we bring stuff to the table. Because folks like me, we're going to stay engaged. We're not going to be bullied. We're not going to stop looking at the data. And we're going to ask some serious questions. This is never about one individual. It's always about the community as a whole and us as citizens. So I appreciate the time. Sir, I didn't want to come and be negative, but you called me out and made me feel as if I'm a problem to this process, and that just wasn't the case. Thank you.
Councilman Boudreaux.
Thank you. I'm going to go back and check my recordings and see who names that I called during that process. Sometimes when you reference a situation or circumstance or condition, and then it attaches on to someone, then the conscience kicks in. But I'm going to do one better than that. I'm going to bring out the emails and the text messages and the interviews of those sworn statements that I receive of comments that was made about me. So we're going to just double down, and because this is what happens in these processes, is that there's no, people are able to just plant mistruths out there and negativity to just taint the process, and that's what was actually taking place, is that things were said that were not true. Things was implied that was not true. You being a very intelligent young man knew how to approach the line without going over the line, but have the effect and impact of what you really wanted to have. And there are other things. So I understand you did not want to come here and be negative. You did, and that's okay, because I welcome that. I really do. So what it does is open the doors to have the full conversation about everything. So we'll just do that and take that up. So I thank you for your comments and look forward to that as we move this from adoption tonight here and passage in December to do what's actually best for the city and parish of Lafayette, and just make sure that everything is out on the table.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Boudreaux. Next speaker.
And finally, we had 12 citizens who did not wish to speak but signed in to support the ordinance. And we had 2 citizens who did not wish to speak who opposed the ordinance.
Okay. All right. Councilman Terrio.
All right, real quick, I know we want to do this. I just want to engage the public and the media to let everybody know, from what I have been told, is that since this process started legal-wise, and maybe Mr. Escott can clarify if I don't use the correct statement, but since the end of May, just the legal bill in order to provide for all the changes that have been made, we're looking at $50,000 plus. So I just want that on record in dealing with this particular issue. Now, secondly, I'm going to try and go through here. I want to read something to you guys. After the town hall meeting, I had a number of calls and meetings with my constituents that raised a number of questions and concerns that they asked me to share with you tonight. Number one, how will this document help those who live outside the city of Lafayette? In 1992, the city voted for consolidation. Those outside the city voted against it, but consolidation was enacted anyway. People are asking, will their vote be ignored again? Just having a parish council doesn't help those outside the city if that council has no money to improve roads or clean out ditches, does it? Next, there are those who want to believe that this will give everyone in the parish equal representation. 5 city council members will represent 132,000 people. 5 parish council members will represent 240,000 people. Does that seem equal to you? The city has a fund balance of $40 million. The parish has a fund balance around $100,000. The parish fund balance will not even pay the salaries of the parish council members. Does that seem equal to you? Many of you, this is next, many of you took the time to attend town hall meetings and looked at the maps. You should know that the maps that are being voted on tonight are not the same maps. The Louisiana Constitution mandates that no person shall be denied the right to observe the deliberations of public bodies. I say that because why was there no time for another series of town hall meetings for the public to see the changes in the maps? How many people know what changes were made? Next, speaking of the maps, these districts were initially drawn without the involvement of council members who were excluded from the process. Does that seem like good government to you? Does that seem like equal representation? The person who drew the maps was never hired by this council, but was paid to do the work anyway. Is that good government to you? Why are we redistricting now when we likely will be required to redistrict again in 2 years after the 2020 census? A while ago, I asked our attorney to write an amendment to change the number of council members from 5 to 7. So districts wouldn't be so large that citizens could not get the representation they deserve. He said it couldn't be done. This council never approved a demographer who drew maps that most of the public has never seen since they changed after the town hall meetings. So you have to wonder what kind of government this is, when there is a demographer who only works for some council members and not all. I asked the attorney to draft an amendment giving the city of Lafayette a mayor. Y'all heard me. Every city in the parish has a mayor and council, and the parish has a president elected parish-wide. The city of Lafayette has no autonomy without a chief executive. Our attorney said he did not have the time to write that amendment. These are both crucial amendments. Will this council refuse to delay the vote and give the lawyer the time to write amendments to improve this proposal? We have lived with this document since 1992, folks. What is the rush to get this on a low turnout election in December when all of us are going to be focused on Christmas and not charters? Next, there are those who say that this proposal fixes the charter. Does it fix anything if the city has no mayor and the parish has no money to operate? What is fixed if we have gone from 1 governing authority to 3 and 1 planning commission to 2? Next, bear with me, Mr. Escott. The legal department in this proposal is perplexing. 1 attorney is going to represent the city council, the parish council, the mayor president, and all the departments. We can only wonder what will happen if 1 council decides to sue another council. Now, LUS. This proposal provides for divisions of LUS if separated from LUS to be under the control of the city council. Sounds harmless enough, but is it? If the electrical part of LUS is sold or leased or privately managed, what funds will be used to subsidize water and sewer, which electric rates have often done in the past? Will it mean increased rates or taxes? Fiber owes a lot of money to both LUS and the city of Lafayette. How will that bond money be repaid? If an entity assumes the bonded debt associated with the utility system, will the bonds still be tax-exempt bonds? By the way, I have not and will not meet with Bernhard unless it's in a public meeting where everyone can hear what is said. Next, I represent people inside and outside the city of Lafayette, and I want everyone outside the city of Lafayette to understand that the way the districts have been drawn, the city council will be made up of 5 people, 2 minorities living within the city limits, and the parish council could be made up of a majority of residents also living inside the city of Lafayette. Think about that. It's possible that those living outside the city of Lafayette will end up with virtually no representation in parish government.
That could happen today.
How does that help the people in the parish or in the unincorporated areas? In conclusion, guys, there are far too many questions, concerns, and objections to this process and to this proposal from the people I represent. It does nothing to help them, absolutely nothing. The attitude that doing anything is better than doing nothing is simply repeating the mistakes made in 1992. We don't need a step in the right direction. We need a proposal that actually solves the problems of consolidation and is advantageous to both the city and parish residents. This proposal does neither. History is about to repeat itself with groups and individuals with an agenda telling the public whatever they have to in order to pass a very flawed document that simply amends an equally flawed original charter. For that reason, I will vote no, and I will urge the council to defer this vote until the first general election after the 2020 census, when the census data is available and accurate districts can be drawn. Mr. Chair, with that said, I am going to make a motion to defer this until the first general election after the 2020 census. That's all I have.
We have a motion on the floor to defer. Second by Councilman Bellard. We're going to go to discussion. We have a few people who want to speak, but I just want to make something very clear because you, Mr. Terry, you had said something, and I want to say it still can happen today. You can still wind up with 9 council members up here that all live in the city of Lafayette. So, I mean, when you say that potentially in the future you could have a council made up of all city across the board, that can happen today. Because I have a little bit of constituency in the city. So, yes, while I represent majority of the unincorporated area, there is in District 1 a section of city folks that if they wanted to run against or run for that spot, it's very possible that all 9 of us here, because all 9 of us have a little bit of city in each district. Therefore, there could be 9 city parish council members up here. So when we say that, we want to make sure we're being truthful that it can happen today regardless of the change. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing with you or commenting on anything you said. I just wanted to make sure that the people understand that you can have 9 council members up here that represent 100% of the city across the board. So in retrospect, that really, it could happen today. And what we're doing is not going to change that. And if it stays the same, it could still happen today. Is this all I'm saying? Yes, sir.
Yeah, and just in response, and I know what you're saying. Feasibly, yes. But with the new maps, you're going to have the 5 city council members. That's done. Boom. There's your 5. The new map for the parish has 2 individuals from the city guaranteed on the parish council. Guaranteed. Based on the populations. Yes, it does. One's the minority district and the other one is, I forgot, I think it was 80 or 90% Lafayette. That's a guaranteed 2 individuals from the city of Lafayette on the parish council out of 5, right there. They get 1 more, they control the parish council. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I have. Thank you.
No problem. If we had 7 city parish councilmen and 3 from the parish, they would control it too. It's the same thing in its current format. But I understand. No big deal. Next, moving on. Councilman Castile. You wanted to talk to this or no? Okay. We got a motion on the floor to defer from Councilman Terrio and a second by Councilman Bellard. So, okay. What? The motion to defer cannot be discussed. Can we get public comment? Your mic's on.
Comment if you're going to take a vote. I don't know of any rule they can't discuss.
I thought you can discuss a deferral. So Mr. Castile would like to make a comment in regards to what Mr. Terrio said before the deferral.
It's the chair's discretion on how you want to run your.
Would you like to make your comments now before we move? No. At this point, your button was hot. Do you want to go? Okay. All right. You on.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Terrio, I heard everything you said, and I guess you know I don't agree with you very often. and I don't agree with you right now either. So I ain't holding no punches either. You talk about we spent $50,000 on attorney's fees to work on this document. We spent $130,000 in attorney's fees for a lawsuit from a district attorney's office who filed suit against parish government that's broken. So $50,000 well spent to try to fix this problem compared to the $130,000 we had to spend to defend parish government because it was broken. Okay? One issue. You said that we don't have time, it's been rushed. You know, they say it was said tonight that, you know, there's no reason for us to rush through this, defer it, let's wait, let's talk about it some more. We've been talking a long time. You've been here almost 11 years just like me. We've been talking about it since we've been here. We have between now and December 8th to discuss this in some more town hall meetings, answer some more questions. We got plenty of time to discuss this issue. You denying the people to vote, that's wrong. That's just outright wrong. Now, the demographer was not paid. That's a big lie on you. Was not paid. That's not the first time you say that. He did me a favor because I asked him to help me because we were doing this work, trying to do something that you never stepped up to the plate to do. Because apparently you thought there was no problems, no issues. Everything was good in Williamsville. Okay? I knew better. That's why we're doing what we're doing. You can grin. Oh, it don't matter to me. But nobody paid the demographer. Okay? We didn't pay him. I didn't pay him. He did it on his own. Now, if this does go forward to the voters, yes, we will hire the demographer, and he will get paid to make it final. Absolutely. Just like any professional would. Of course, you may think that's not right, okay? But like I said, I don't agree with you too many times anyway, so that don't matter. You talk about, all 9 seats can be controlled by the city. I've been hearing that since 2008. I used to live in the city. Mr. Bello lives in the city. It can happen. Can happen now. I mean, you make it sound like it's such a dramatic thing that can happen to this government, to the people. Gee whiz. We sit up here, it's already a difficult job, okay? We knew what we signed up for. I knew it was tough. And it's a year and a half left. It's going to be tough to the end. But I know what I'm here for. And I'm here to help the people that I serve. And this parish as a whole, okay? I'm not going to sit up here and tell half-truths, send the crowd one way. I'm going to send the crowd right down the middle of the street. I'm going to tell them the truth. It's broken. You say we can't fix it. This is not going to fix anything. Well, if you're a parish council member and you sit there and you do nothing, they're going to let you know in 4 years. Believe you me, they'll let you know in 4 years. That's where it should make the difference. Not by 9 of us up here. The ballot box. I encourage every council member up here to support this and send it to the voters. You said this document has a lot of flaws. Absolutely. I don't deny that. It's got a lot of flaws. A lot of things that are outdated, but that wasn't the charge. What we were doing was separating the 2 legislative bodies for representation issues. That's what it was about. And it took off and went haywire. But I've always said it. It's because of the representation. That's why we're doing this, okay? Now, I'm sure you're going to have some more comments about what I just said. We're going to go back and forth all night. I'm kind of hungry, but I don't know if I'm going to answer you back again. But, I heard a lot of different things out here tonight, a lot of positive things, a lot of negative things, but that's okay. That's why they pay me the big bucks. Big bucks. put that in the newspaper, okay? Now, you know, it rubs me the wrong way when people start sending something as important as this in a direction that is not fully truthful. You know, Mr. Roderick, you're a great guy, dude. I like you, and you here every meeting. I wish we had 10,000 people like you. I would love that. You tell us like it is, whether we like it or not. Sometimes we answer you, sometimes we don't. Okay? But this document is going to give you 5 people to focus on your problem. Okay? Your problem. Parish problems, unincorporated areas. We need somebody to do that. We got to have somebody to focus on parish issues. That district attorney sitting right there will not deny that. He'll tell you, we need that. We need that representation. We got to get our parish back on its feet. The city of Lafayette deserves its autonomy. They deserve to have their own council. They deserve to have their mayor. But you know what? People scream and cry because we want to grow government. You want more politicians. Well, we handle all that. You're going to keep your same job. It'll get a little tougher for him. You exercise a little more, you know, because you have to be here more often. It's okay. It's all right. I'm not saying you're big or anything. But we need to have a city council in place and a parish council in place. We have to. I mean, we can't sit here and honestly think that this government is working fine. I just can't. I just don't understand that. You know, I was accused earlier tonight of doing some unethical things, and you know, I'm glad I left the room to go use the restroom, because I probably would have been escorted by the police officer out the room, okay? Because that's one thing I can tell you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you like it is, and if you don't like it, just like my man right there, he's going to tell you like it is. And this is it. It's broken. We're trying to fix it. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Said that all night long. Both sides said it all night long. We need to do something. We need to change the way we do our government. We need to run things differently. Change is always difficult for anybody. But it's time to move. So for 20 years, we've been kicking this can. Now, I said at the beginning, we keep kicking the can down the road. Now there's no more can, and now we're on a gravel road. So we need to do this, whether we like it or not. People need to make the decision, not this council. I say we send it to the people and let them decide. That's all I have for now, Mr. Chair. You can take me off.
All right. Thank you, sir. Councilman Boudreaux.
Thank you. My comments is only related to some of the points that Mr. Terrio made. So my first question to legal, you all provided him with a factual number of in excess of $50,000 during this process. Does that include the public records request that you all have responded to directly related to this, or is it just the amendments brought forward by the original authors, the amendments brought forward by Ms. Cook and Ms. Aber, and the amendments brought forward by Mr. Terrio?
I don't recall if that amount included the subsequent amendments. It was just up and through July 17th, approximately. I don't think those amendments came until slightly after that.
So what I would ask that you do is provide this council with a record that we could submit publicly of the additional cost related to amendments brought by other individuals, as well as specific public records requests, which were planted requests for this specific matter, and how much time that tied up of legal and the costs associated with responding to those requests. Okay. I would like that as well.
Well,
to the best of your ability.
Yeah, because some of it may be difficult to segregate out. It'll be easy to segregate out the public records request costs related to that. None of the figures that you've discussed included any costs related to the processing and responses to public records requests. So that would be easily
distinguishable.
Anything you could tie back
I can-
to the amendment of the charter in any form or fashion.
Okay.
Want that cost,
All right.
regardless of what it is, what it
Okay.
amounts to. People need to keep in mind, the city of Lafayette is still a legal entity under the state's constitution. So when you start talking about how many representatives they have in the city and in the parish, when you look at what this body is responsible for, which is the city of Lafayette and the unincorporated area of Lafayette Parish, the majority of the population is in the city. Any demographer, whether it's the one you don't like or the one that we used, they're gonna come back with these same numbers. The population of people that is represented, that's an equal distribution. That's not a crime. It's the law. You have to have an equal distribution of that population. So that control of access that is being talked about here, that's another one of those plants to mislead people. But Mr. Terry, I have one question for you. You attempted to do something that I was not aware that you was even interested in doing, but I'm glad you are. I have been criticized for partnering with Mr. Castile and Mr. Conk on this particular amendment to the charter. I would like the opportunity to partner with you. I would like you and I, since you want a mayor for the city, and so do I, and 7 council members, I am asking you, in this year's budget, the city has $40 million in reserve, that you and I move jointly to put money aside for a mayor of Lafayette, 2 additional council members, and that you and I immediately start working on the next charter amendment to go on the spring ballot that legal has already told you we have time to do, and that we bring forth the next charter amendment for a mayor and to move our city council from 5 to 7. Would you work with me on that and partner with me on that, and we bring that forward together?
Mr. Boudreaux, I'm always willing to have an open discussion.
No. Don't sugarcoat. You said you want a mayor for Lafayette and 7 council members. It's gonna cost somewhere in excess of $350,000, but I think we could keep it under 500. My question is not to have a conversation. I don't need a conversation to know what you said you wanted to do. I want what you want. You offered an amendment to these legal minds, and they told you they couldn't do it for this, but they could do it for March. Are you willing to do it, or are you just putting that out there to mislead the people, to confuse the people, and further confuse this process? It's either one or the other, William. Enough is enough, man. We've been here together for 11 years. Let's not leave here without doing something significant and worthy on behalf of the people. Now, you said that. Don't tell me you want a conversation. Either you want to do it or you don't. That's the question. If you can't answer that, I would respectfully say don't answer nothing at all. But you said you asked them for an amendment. I'm telling you, I'm willing to partner with you. A Democrat and a Republican, a black and a white, a south side and a north side, in any other divisions you want. I'm willing to partner with you. If you meant what you said. Or did you just say it to get that response you got from this public, but you didn't mean it at all because you know that would just give people another thing to think about to confuse this process? That's my only question I have for you. Nothing else. Yes or no?
Are you going to allow me to speak, Preacher Kenneth?
My preacher in the audience, I told him, come pray for me tonight. I brought my preacher with me. I knew what I was getting into tonight. Believe you me, I'm prayed up here today.
The way
but
you're
you
talking.
Can answer, but I know where you're going. I think I already got your answer. But yes, you can answer. That's all I got for now.
It's amazing that you are trying to put me in an area where you know what I'm going to say, Mr. Boudreaux. First and foremost, I would be a crazy person to say yes, because you are setting me up. Number one, we don't know if legal would even allow us to do that at this point. These are all questions. If it can be done, why are we moving forward tonight with this? Tell you what, you defer this, Kenneth? You vote to defer this? There's your answer, yes. Let's wait until the 2020 census, and you and I can start working on this.
My answer to that is no, because you've been deferring for 11 years.
Oh,
See, I want to go forward. This is the beauty of this process, and you heard it here tonight. We could do this, then the next thing, then the next thing. When you go to your doctor, you don't tell the doctor, hold off on fixing my left leg until I'm ready for my right arm to get fixed. You fix what's broken, you heal what's broken, you treat what's broken, you correct what's broken, and you keep moving forward. You don't say wait until such time that we could do all of this at one time. You would love nothing more than to delay this process some more, let it fall into another council, which is going to be a relatively new council. No one is going to want to do anything. It's going to be election years. Everybody will be afraid to act. No, William, you said it. You asked for the amendment.
You did good, right? I did.
You asked for it. This is your opportunity.
But this
But you know
does
what?
not
The people
fix
have
it.
seen you for what is real now.
Oh,
That's all I want.
That's what
They have seen you.
That's what
They
you
have
say,
seen you
Boudreaux.
for what is
You want to
real.
go down that road, buddy?
All you was
cut
You
the
want to
mics
go
off.
down that
I'm gonna
road?
cut-
go as far down as you want.
Hey, mic's off. Mic's off.
That's
Hey,
send people back
hey.
to wherever it is. You open
Hey.
this door. You asked for the amendment.
Oh, time out. Time out. Hey, stop. Like in French, they say arrête, that means stop. Stop. Let's montre tranquille. Stop all that tracas right here. We're here to do business. We're here to be professional. Let's hold that down. Mr. Roger, I'm going to wave to you tomorrow. We're not talking right now. All right? All right. No. We can't talk from the cheap seats right there. No. I want to go ahead and call the vote on the deferral.
You got it.
You got blue cards for the deferral? That was motion by Terrio and second by Councilman Bellard.
Correct. We have the same list of individuals who had signed in earlier, and they do get the opportunity to speak to the deferral.
Okay. As she calls you, or anybody out there that is on that list that is still here would like to speak to the deferral, hey, put your hand out, that would like to speak to Mr. Terrio and Mr. Bellard's amendment to defer it. Mr. Robinson, the price is right. Come on down. Now look, don't get animated with me, okay? My ears are ringing from Boudreaux to Terrio. I'm going to see a hearing doctor.
This is the trouble whenever you're having this thing and you're not thinking about people. That's what the trouble is. Y'all can't work together. Y'all want to have one government bigger than the other.
Stop. You got to talk on the deferral only for 2 weeks. You cannot talk about the argument or about this. You got to talk about the deferral. He made a motion. He made a motion.
He made a motion
to defer for 2 weeks. So you need to talk about the deferral, Mr.
Okay, I'm
Robinson.
talking about the defer.
Okay.
Made a defer right there. Second on Jared.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Then they came up and talking about the other stuff. Now they could talk about the other stuff, and I can't talk about the other stuff.
Correct, because this is a council.
That's kind of wrong. No, it don't work that way.
That's how it works.
Why they get to talk something else whenever he was talking about the defer? They talking about something else.
That's council discussion, and once the deferral is made.
I'm in the public.
Come on, Mr. Rogers. I'm going to cut the mic off, okay?
So I can't talk on it.
Your mic is on. I'm asking you to be very respectful right now, okay?
But I'm trying to be respectful, but they got other words that came out against other council members that should have been listened to.
Mr. Robinson, we're going to talk like this, okay? You're going to calm down. You're going to bring it down to my level, okay? This is the level we're going to talk at.
Okay.
Here's what we're going to go at.
Kevin.
When it's a council discussion, Mr. Robinson, that discussion can be where it was at. But when it goes to the public comment, sir, when it's a deferral and it's public comment, you only are allowed to speak in regards to the deferral. We can't go back, what we talked about earlier tonight, we can't go back about what happened. You need to say, yes, I'm for the deferral, no, I'm for the deferral, or not, or why. And that's what we're trying to get at. And that's what every other speaker that's going to come up is going to have to speak in regards to, do you support the deferral for 2 weeks or whatever was on the table, or you don't? And that's what you have to refer to. But that other discussion, like I told you, we can have that after the meeting. Okay?
After the meeting, what you mean?
Me and you going to talk. After the meeting.
I want to talk to just me and you. I want to talk to everybody.
Well, we have to have a special meeting, a Roger Robinson and council meeting. But we can't have it tonight. Okay?
Okay, so I'm kind of lost right here. So whenever he asked for defer, he seconded it like this, and then they talked after that I don't get the same talk?
No. You can only talk on the deferral. Do you want to support the deferral? Do you think we should wait, or you want to go ahead and go with it?
I said defer and leave it alone to 2020.
Okay, well, that's what your time is allotted for, to talk in regards to that.
You know, because that way you can have more people vote on this
There you
thing
go.
here. Everybody could get out there, you can have a major election, and then that's when the majority of the people's gonna be there. There won't be nothing hid in the closet. Everybody gets to vote. This way here, you got a small turnout. Y'all know that. That's unreal. Why don't y'all look for a big turnout? If y'all would start doing that, you would have more people coming out here and stuff. But no, y'all want small turnouts. Y'all want to see certain people in one area like this here be better than the other one in the other area, when we're all the same. It's totally unreal, you know? And you know, y'all need to straighten up, grow up, and defer the thing here. And I would really appreciate it. And I tell you what, y'all, you defer it, everybody else defer it to 2020. I'm gonna go shake your hands. Then, if y'all take it like that there, and say, well, we're gonna defer it and get together at 2020, I'll shake your hand twice.
Whoa, there we go.
You know? But this is unreal. Let the people vote whenever you get a majority of the election. Don't try to pass it with 3 and 4% of the vote like the mosquito control and everything else. That's what happened when the mosquito control money. Y'all don't remember, huh? Yeah, y'all know that's how it passed. Y'all don't let the people come up whenever you got the majority. Y'all want just a little certain group coming up to vote. Favors done for one person that works for the government, not for the other one. So that's something that somebody was saying. They didn't have to pay for it, favors. I don't think that's supposed to be legal in there, but I'm not a lawyer, but I know I wouldn't hire that person to draw no math for me.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
And as Andrew Hebert is coming up to speak, just for clarification, Mr. Terrio's motion is to defer to the 2020 census, not for 2 weeks.
Okay, I misunderstood what, okay.
Okay,
So
thank
the
you.
deferral on the table is for 2020,
Yes, sir, correct.
for the 2020 census, or the still, that's 20, okay. I got you, I'm so fraud. Okay. Mr. Andrew, you got the mic, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'd like for y'all to defer. A lot of people have been mentioning my name quite a bit around here. I've been following this government for a long time. I've been reading that document for a long time, and I know its ins and outs. And tonight, you put forth some amendments, which I could not follow. I mean, 17 of them, and I'm trying to figure out where you are, what are you doing, what is the consequences of that? Consequences are, parish is broke, parish gets a city, parish gets a parish council, parish passes a parish-wide property tax controlled by parish council. That's the goal. That's the true goal. Because the only way you're going to fix the parish government is to raise parish taxes. That's what's going to happen. There's going to be a parish-wide vote for parish property taxes. That's the downhill effect. People said I projected or figured out what was going on in city parish government years ago. Because I don't just think of what's the domino effect now. I think of what the domino effect is 15, 20 years from now, because I got kids here. I got family here. I wanted my kids to stay here. One's now in Houston. He ain't coming back. He's in a major corporation over there, way up there, doing well. I sure wish he would have done that here to make this community prosperous. I think you need to take 2 weeks for us to look at the amendments, at least look at the amendments, to understand the consequences of those amendments, not just for this election, but for the future of this parish, this city, Scott, Karen Crow, Doosan, Youngsman, Broussard, all of us, because we're all in it together. And I believe we all want what is best for all of us. So I'd ask you, please, on the behalf of all the citizens out there who are watching, all the citizens who have commented tonight, to defer this at least for 2 weeks. I think that'd be in the best interest of our parish, our cities, and our community. Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Oh, are we going in order, or are we going out?
Oh, no, you can come up and just state your name for the record, please.
Jeff Daly, District 3. I would ask you all to not support the deferment. A deferment to 2020 is basically a vote in favor of the status quo.